Hi guys, welcome. This is Lisa from astrologysphere.com. In this video I'm going to be doing eclipse forecasts for the upcoming eclipse season, which begins on the 26th of December and extends to the 21st of June 2020. So what I'm going to do is look at the main energies surrounding eclipse season, and then I'm going to break these down sign by sign for each of the 12 zodiac signs. This is something new I've introduced to my website for members, so it's probably something I'm going to be sending out with my moon phase newsletters, which normally go out twice a month. So if you're interested in receiving these on a regular basis, then please do subscribe. All you have to do is go to astrologysphere.com/subscribe and sign up. It's absolutely free, and it would be fabulous to have you on this journey with me as we go into 2020. So without further ado, let's get into this forecast. So before we get into the individual forecasts, I'm just going to give an overall summary of the main energies that will be constellating in relation to the eclipse cycle between now and June 2020. I have, if you're interested, also done a more in-depth video which looks at the kind of macro cycles relating to the last decade and the energies that relate to these particular eclipses, as well as the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So if you're interested in that, then you can have a look at my other video, which is called something like the December 26th solar eclipse big picture. So kick-starting eclipse season is the solar eclipse in Capricorn, which happens on the 26th of December 2019. So this begins a brand new 6-month cycle for the collective, which will last until the 21st of June 2020, when we have a new eclipse, a new solar eclipse that will take us into the next eclipse cycle. So this particular eclipse, like most solar eclipses, happens at new moon. So you could say that these type of events are really turbocharged new moons, where you are looking to plant the seeds and set your intentions for the upcoming 6 months. This particular eclipse happens, as I said, in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn on the whole is the archetypal father or authority figure. So Capricorn concerns power, responsibility, it's the inner parent, it's parenting in general, it's taking responsibility for things, owning things. It's also about working towards achieving your ambitions. Capricorn is earth energy, so this is fantastic for manifesting of all kinds. It's really great for career and coin, basically. So whilst the last eclipse cycle concerned the private sphere, this is very much about the public sphere. It's about making your mark, it's about shining in the world, and it's about achieving what it is that you want to achieve when it comes to your New Year's resolutions. So where there is a solar eclipse, there tends to be a follow-up lunar eclipse, and this year things are no different. After the solar eclipse in Capricorn, we're followed with a lunar eclipse in Cancer on the 10th of January, so in the opposite sign. So lunar eclipses happen at full moon, and they are like turbocharged full moons. Full moons on the whole tend to be about culminations or endings, and in this case what we're doing is closing out the last eclipse cycle, which began on the 2nd of July 2019 with the solar eclipse in Cancer. So Cancer is a water sign. It's the archetypal mother. This is about family, it's about the past, it's about the unconscious, it's about habits, also diet to an extent, it's about self-care. And Cancer, being a water sign, tends to be concerned with emotional things. We have to bear in mind that this is also occurring at the full moon, and that the moon is at home in the sign of Cancer. So this could be quite an emotional time, a time of release, a time of letting go, a time of endings. So that's just something to bear in mind during the first half of January, and as we go into the waning moon cycle, there may be things that you need to close out from last year before you can move fully into the solar eclipse energy that will be getting underway on December the 26th. So as if it wasn't enough to have two eclipses beginning a brand new decade, we are also due to have a Saturn-Pluto conjunction in the sign of Capricorn on the 12th of January 2020. So this begins a brand new cycle as far as these two planets are concerned. They tend to come together every 35 or so years. It's a little bit, it varies a little bit because of Pluto's elliptical orbit. Essentially, these two planets have very similar resonances. That's because before Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, many of the attributes that it now carries were assigned to the planet Saturn. Saturn was considered to be the outermost planet in the classical pantheon of planets. So a lot of the symbolism between the two overlap. Saturn is the archetypal Grim Reaper. It's also the archetypal father, so you could say that this is Emperor energy. Then we have Pluto, which is also associated with power, usually hidden power, invisible power. Pluto in many respects is symbolized by the phoenix, so this is death and then rebirth, so we're talking more about cycles here. Together, the two of them coming together in the sign of Capricorn is really quite intense energy. It's quite serious. It's also earth-based, so it's very much to do with what happens on Earth, structures that underpin the fabric of our lives. So we're talking here about power structures, so political structures. We're talking about banking. We're talking about bureaucracy. So those things on a mundane level, we might see some changes happening there. Together, Saturn and Pluto are about cutting back, stripping back. So it's possible that at this time, this energy could coincide with an economic recession. I do talk about the macro trends to do with Saturn and Pluto in my video on the big picture concerning the solar eclipse. So if you're interested in how the Saturn-Pluto conjunction fits into the trends that have been happening over the last decade or so, then have a watch of that video. Needless to say, this energy will, because it's happening in the same sign as the solar eclipse, there will be some sort of continuation when it comes to the December 26th solar eclipse. It's also fair to say that many of us will already have a sense of what this energy is all about, because Saturn and Pluto were going in and out of orb of each other during 2019. They came very close to each other in the first quarter of 2019, and then they went retrograde and parted ways, and then they started to come back together again in November, December of 2019. So you've probably already got a sense that this is quite heavy energy. It's about letting go of things. It's about the truth. It's about revealing what's hidden. It's also to do with rebuilding and restructuring. It's about karmic justice and karmic rebalancing. So essentially about divine timing too, and a sort of, I hate to use the word reckoning, but that's certainly a possibility when it comes to these two planets. There's not really a lot of a sense of mercy when it comes to either Saturn or Pluto. This is the hard taskmaster and the lord of the underworld. So these are not easy energies to have to deal with, but nonetheless, if you're prepared to kind of own your stuff, if you're prepared to do the work that they demand of you, then you can reap some fantastic rewards in the future. It's just worth bearing in mind that because these planets move so slowly, you're not likely to see immediate rewards for your actions. This is more long term. This is kind of building the foundations for the future. So that in a nutshell is a summary of the three main kind of energies that will be at play in the background between now and June of 2020. Just commenting overall, it's worth saying that in many respects this is about a balancing of masculine and feminine energies. So Capricorn in tarot terms, you could associate with not just the world and the devil, but also the emperor. And Cancer, although it is associated with the moon card and with the chariot, you could also associate it to an extent with the Empress energy, because it's the archetypal mother. The sun and moon have similar resonances. These are the cosmic yin and yang energies. So we're talking about the sun is masculine energy and the moon is, generally speaking, feminine energy. So you could say that between now, sort of over the next 6 months, that there's a balancing happening between masculine and feminine energies. Right, so let's get into the individual forecasts. The best way to leverage these is to listen to the forecast for your rising sign, your ascendant. This will ensure that the planets are in the correct position as far as life areas are concerned, so they're more likely to be accurate when it comes to predictions. Although you can also listen for your sun sign and then for your moon sign. If you'd like to order a personal forecast for the upcoming 6 months or 12 months, you can go to my website and order one from astrologysphere.com. For Pisces, the Capricorn solar eclipse on the 26th of December will start a brand new 6-month cycle for you when it comes to friends, social media, groups, memberships, and charitable work. So it's possible that between now and the solstice on the 21st of June 2020, that you will find yourself focusing more on networking more, on getting out and seeing friends, extending your social circle, perhaps joining some groups or signing up as a member for a particular club. These are all likely to be major themes going into 2020. Now, with every solar eclipse, there's always a corresponding lunar eclipse. So as we're starting new things, we're ending the sort of the opposite things that we've been working on for the last 6 months. So for Pisces, that basically has to do with leisure activities, young people, children, new love relationships, holidays, that type of thing. So it's possible that over the last 6 months, you've really been focusing on having more fun, introducing more joy and pleasure into your life, getting back onto the dating scene, spending time with children, maybe having children, and now your focus is really shifting towards friendships and social circles. So this may mean that at the Cancer lunar eclipse on the 10th of January, that you are having to release some habits or patterns or issues that relate to the cycle that's phasing out. So cancer related matters. And so, for example, if you decide to spend more time with your friends in 2020, this may mean spending less time with your children or perhaps with a lover, or it could mean that if you, for example, getting involved in more charitable work, that you have less time for your hobbies or for going on holidays, or you simply you don't want to be as frivolous perhaps as you were in the last 6 months, that you want your work or your time to be more meaningful, to make a difference, to be of service rather than simply pleasing yourself. So at the Cancer lunar eclipse on the 10th of January, you may find that some of these issues kind of come to a head in order to be released. This is just residual energy left over from the last 6 month cycle. So see this as a time to integrate, to finalize, and to consolidate when it comes to those kind of matters. Put them to bed, basically. And then when it comes to the new 6 month cycle, Jupiter figured in quite strongly into this particular solar eclipse. So this is giving Pisceans an opportunity to really expand their horizons when it comes to career status, vocation, and future goals. So it's possible that as a result of moving into a new social circle, networking more, or doing charitable work, that you might find that you're able to, that it benefits your career, for example, or you may feel that it gives you a sense of purpose, maybe more so than your career has done up to now. So it's, it may be that the two things augment each other, that as you do more charitable work, you realize what your real purpose is in life, and so this in turn allows you to expand in terms of your career goals and aims, or simply that you get introduced to new opportunities to expand work-wise as a result of some new social connections that you make between now and June of 2020. Then on the 12th of January we have the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. So along with the Cancer lunar eclipse, this is phasing out energy. This is what we have to let go of in order to really reap the benefits of what 2020 has to offer. So Saturn-Pluto in the case of Pisces is asking you to cut back or to change your beliefs, your outlook on life, your ethics and morals, possibly do less foreign travel, or simply consider your friendships from a different standpoint. So for example, those friends that you feel are perhaps a little bit too frivolous, or that don't really that sort of encourage toxic behavior in you, or just not chiming with you as you've kind of grown and changed, you may find that you decide to let them go, or you cancel certain memberships, or you spend less time on social media. But more than likely, I think you're going to find that as you find your soul tribe and you come into more of a sense of purpose and meaning, that it's going to cause you to change your outlook on life and your beliefs. So the two things kind of go hand in hand. The key thing to remember with Saturn and Pluto is that this is energy about reducing, cutting back, getting to the truth. So it's about being more honest with yourself and others in terms of maybe areas where there's been a bit of deception or self-deception going on. So getting real, getting sort of down to the nitty-gritty. If you're interested in learning more about Saturn and Pluto and this particular conjunction and the long-term patterns that have been at work over the last sort of 12 years or so, then I suggest you listen to my previous video about the big picture when it comes to the December solar eclipse. You might find it of interest. So guys, that's really it. I hope you've enjoyed these horoscopes, that they've been helpful to you and given you some pointers on the major trends that are going to be happening for you between now and June of 2020. If you haven't already, you may want to go to my website and find out more about eclipses. I do have a library of eclipses going back about 15 years, so if you're interested in looking at previous eclipses, then please sign up for my membership. It's free. It gives you access to my eclipse library. It gives you my it also means that you get my bi-monthly newsletters, which I send out to everyone on my mailing list, and it also means that you get exclusive and early access to any upcoming forecasts that I do that are not in the public domain. So with that, I wish you all the best for 2020. I hope the eclipses bring you everything that you hope for. Good luck with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and hope to see you again really soon.